Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and do come and join us for a Sunday morning tradition over the past few weeks. The Championship review. We've been able to do it. All the games have been played on the Saturday, nothing on the Sunday. So we can bang through all 12 of the fixtures here on a Sunday morning. Please let yourself be known if you are in the chat and let me know if you saw a game and your thoughts on it. Try and keep your comments on the game that we're looking at the time. We'll go through all 12 from top to bottom in the table. So if you're wondering when your game is coming and it's taking too long, you need to have a word with your team's manager and get your team further up the league or get them against the team that's further up the league. We'll check in and see who's in the chat in just a second, but let's do our normal plugs at the beginning. We need to say thank you to Russ. Russ Peake is our fan sponsor for this show, a fan and now a friend, despite Ben's terrible taste in football teams, indeed. And a quick plug for the merchandise. Just underneath where you're watching now is a link to the Teespring store where you can buy T-shirts, mugs, phone cases, hoodies, sweatshirts, all of that good stuff there. You can also support via Super Chat during the show and join on Patreon. If you are here, it is absolutely free, though, to hit like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already over on YouTube. Let's have a little look who's here. George, Ashley, Chris, Anir, Jay, Mike, Great, Dan, Colin, Jason, Ewan, John, Mr. E, Rod, Jack. Excellent. Lots of different teams represented as well. Looks like we've got quite a few top sixers in there as well. Almost like the top sixers are gravitated to Championship content at the moment. And why the hell not? Let's go to the split screen for the first time. And we'll just go through the results and then we'll get into our game-by-game business. It was on Friday night, Cardiff 0, Bristol City 1. Early kickoff on Saturday was Reading 0, Stoke 3. We did both of them on the watch-alongs. If you haven't joined us for a watch-along, brilliant stuff. Bring your insight to those. Plenty coming up after the international break. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Millwall 0. I've missed out. Forest 2, Wickham 0. Huddersfield 1, Luton 1. Watford 3, Coventry 2, Derby 0, Barnsley 2, Rotherham 2, Preston 1, Brentford 0, Borough 0, Birmingham 1, Bournemouth 3, Blackburn 3, QPR 1, and Norwich 1, Swansea 0 were our results. So we do still start with Reading, who are our leaders. However, Reading have now lost 3 games on the bounce. The latest one there, Reading 0, Stoke 3. Reading still struggling with a few injuries in there. The likes of Maite, Swift and Moore are all out. McIntyre had a bit of a nightmare in the previous game against Preston. So Gibson came in and lots of chat during our watch along about the shape and the balance there. There's a right back in central midfield, essentially. Do the 2 forwards dovetail that well? Not so sure. Stoke, well, they came under Michael O'Neill. They sat back. They waited for the mistakes. And sadly for Reading, the mistakes came and they were punished. Let's have a look at the goals in this one. There is Thomas Estevez. You can see heading the ball back into a rather dodgy area. And I'm afraid he's going to get punished by Tyrese Campbell on the right foot. Hits that really, really early. Look at Raphael in the goal. He's just peering around Yidam and Gibson. But nice, early, accurate from Tyrese Campbell. Good finish. And example number 1 of how to punish an error. And Stoke were ruthless in this regard. And here is Raphael. He's going to play out from the back. Have a look at Morrison and Gibson. Obviously, they have been told to go and stand in those positions. However, if you get the ball out, and we see it a lot, the 2 centre-backs come back, the full-backs go wide. If you get that ball wrong, this is what happens. Sorry, let me just take a swig of my drink. Tommy Smith with the header, and look at Stephen Fletcher, and then look at Michael Morrison at the top of the picture. Easy chance then created, headed straight back in. Fletcher is not going to miss that. Some questions as to whether Tyrese Campbell touched it on the way through with the flick and a borderline offside. But the key point here is the bad playing out from the back, not the questionable offside. Fletcher sticks it in, and it is 2-0. Reading didn't play badly in the first half, but you can't make mistakes like that, not against the Michael O'Neill Stoke team. And even worse, poor Lewis Gibson, who gave good balance in the centre halves. Look, it's fairly obvious Moore and Morrison will be the partnership, but I didn't think he gave a bad account of himself until now. Horrible back pass by Gibson. It's going to get worse. Jacob Brown takes it, goes around Raphael, sticks it in the net, and it's even going to get worse. I wouldn't want to show you the still, but Gibson clatters into the post, smashes his torso on the post there. And it's 3-0. Let's have a look at the numbers, which will be exactly as you would expect, I'm sure, in a Paunovic versus Michael O'Neill game in this one. Get your comments in, by the way. I'll come to them in a sec. Nearly 70% possession. It doesn't matter, though, does it? If you're going to make those type of mistakes, 5 shots to 3 on target, also in Reading's favour. 8 corners to 1 in Reading's favour. Look at that as well. 3 big chances to 2. I think we're talking about headers in the main. Certainly one from Semedo in the first half. 588 passes to 261. We always look at we try and balance out stats with the eye test, but one thing stats don't pick up is errors leading directly to goals. If you do 3 of them in one game, you are screwed, aren't you? And Reading sadly fell to those 3 errors they made. The rest of the game kind of becomes insignificant if you don't take your chance, you make a big error. Changes the context every goal, doesn't it? So there are Reading still at the top, and still our only 2 points per game team, 22 points in 11. But we cannot ignore the big factor of 7 wins and a draw, followed by 3 straight defeats. So strange to say, Reading are top of the league, but clearly trending downwards over the last 3 games. Stoke are grinding, aren't they? They're just going to churn. In fact, look at 7th, 8th and 9th, Middlesbrough, Stoke and Millwall. Watch that lot grind and not move far from those positions, let's just say. Look, win-loss. Ultimately, that won't be good enough. That you need draws in there, or you need to win 2 in a row at some point. But Stoke, nicely positioned in 8th. If they can bump up a little bit from, although I dare say another 18 points in the next 11, I suspect they might be very close or in the top 6, let's just say. Let's have a look at your comments on this one. Lots of penetration, no possession. Lots of possession, no penetration. Yep, totally agree. Ashley says, can we just move on, Ben? That was such a bad performance defensively. Yeah, agreed. And just errors. Error. It's our own doing, indeed. As a Reading fan, I never thought I'd feel down whilst being top of the league. That's the interesting point, isn't it? Top, really good first 11, but trending downwards. All those things are true. You think Reading now are going to fall like a stone or once injuries come back? I'm not sure they'll fall like a stone. You have to look at who's chasing them. And we'll say in a minute, these 3 parachute teams just sat there waiting. So there may not be many chances for the top 3 for the non-parachute teams this season. But we'll find out. Stoke are eventually doing what they should have done the last couple of seasons. Agreed. Reading have still made a better start this season. Yep, agreed. Don't mess around with it at the back in the Championship. Absolutely not. Reading will probably still be happy along the way to a mid-table finish. Would be a successful season. Yep, agreed with that as well. You're all talking a lot of sense in the chat today. We've played well. Just need to stop making mistakes at the back. Get our injured players. Fingers crossed we'll return to form. I agree. And 22 points in the first 11. If you can get, say, 15 in the next 10, Reading can still. I know a lot of people are thinking, oh, they'll drop into the middle of the table, but really they can play quite sort of averagely now in terms of output and still be in the top 6 for quite a long while now. That start has been so good. Chris points out Bournemouth away, Millwall away in the next 2 games. So there you go. Reading 0, Stoke 3. We should just tip our hats to Stoke, who are grinding it out. We knew that was what they were going to do through this season with Michael. They did it last season, frankly, and it's scoring them a lot of points. I predicted them to be in the playoffs. They need back-to-back wins at some point. If not, they need to draw some games in between these wins. But I think it looks viable for. I think it looks very viable for Stoke. Right, second place. We are on to Watford. Boring old Watford, who've won 3-2 twice in a week. Not so boring anymore. And this win, they've beaten Stoke and they've beaten Coventry. This win didn't quite come as late as the last one, but there's striking similarities with a 3-2 win and a Saar penalty to get them over the line in the end. The star power now starting to pay for Watford. Look, Andre Gray now starts up top with Ismail Sarr, with Yao Pedro and Troy Deeney on the bench. So it looks like Ivic has basically got 4 really good strikers for 2 positions. And he's rotated at the back, hasn't he, with Cathcart, Ekong, Kabasele, and then Wilmot as well. I wonder if he'll just rotate his way through the entire season and they'll have that star power and they'll have that freshness. So, looking good. Kapue is now in that central midfield picture, isn't he, with Chalobah and Cleverley and Garner. Honestly, they can rotate any number of positions there. Central midfield, central defence, and up top. Watford just have to be competent to get promoted this season with that squad, don't they? They just have to not have a chaotic 8 games without a win run or something crazy like that. But it looks very viable for Watford to be promoted with that squad, doesn't it? Morosi, Rose, Ostergaard, Hyam, McCallum, Giles, Hamer returns and is going to score quite the goal. Sheaf, O'Hare, Biamu and Walker up top. So Godden not about. Let's look and see how this one played out in terms of the goals. Get your comments on Watford 3, Coventry 2 as we go. And I haven't labelled these up in here, so let's hope I find the first one. There we go. Ken Sema, again. The parallels with the Stoke game are just incredible. He had an assist exactly like this going down the side. I must say, great ball by Kapui, but I ran out of space for pictures here. He's going to knock that one back and just kind of gets bundled over the line. I think the goal's been given to Andre Gray, but it definitely hits either 1 or 2 Coventry players before possibly just hitting Gray and going in, frankly. But there it is. You'll take it. Good play by Sema. What a goal this is. Is that the furthest you've ever seen someone score a header from? Unbelievable from Hamer. He is actually 25 yards out, isn't he, there? And look, it bounces up. He heads it, catches Foster, and lobs it over his head. Sensational goal by Gus Hamer. Bear that in mind when we're doing Goal of the Week at the end of the show. Couple of very good headers this game week, but what a goal. Let me know if you've seen a header from further out than that. Brilliant, brilliant goal. And then they go 2-1 up. Great finish that. That's not an easy chance, is it? The ball's not on the floor and Tyler Walker's got a bit of pressure on him and he's outside the box, but he slams it past Foster. Really good goal by Tyler Walker there. Disappointing one for Coventry there. That's Truce Ekong, unmarked in the middle of the 6-yard box to header home for 2-2. In it goes. And then Callum O'Hare, put your hands down. Handball there by O'Hare. And Saar, whose output is just going to be very strong this season, isn't it? Strides up. He's probably got 3 goals and a couple of assists now already, hasn't he, since he's been back in the team. And strokes home the penalty. We'll have a look at the numbers. Then we'll have a look at your comments. and we'll see how even a game this is. Didn't expect to be talking about 3-2 Watford wins this week. Can't talk. 5 shots to 3 on target, 52-48 to Watford in the possession, 4 blocked shots as well, 7 corners to 1, 4 big chances to 2. 5-15, 4-6-9 on the passes. And look at that, 25 clearances from Coventry. Would suggest, numbers-wise, that they probably merited the win. Let me know if you were watching the game and you think differently. Watford move into second spot. They've got over that little 2 points in 3 games, which is a poor run. But they're not hitting 2 points per game yet. I suspect 1, 2 or 3 of these year one parachute teams will start to hit 2 points per game soon. Only Reading have managed it. Winning runs may commence, let's just say, over the late autumn winter period now. But great stuff by Ivic, really. Only 9 conceded in the 11 as well, and 21 points there. Coventry are sliding, aren't they? Look at that, 4 defeats in 5. And my worry for Coventry and for other teams down there is you have some big clubs down there, Derby, Sheffield Wednesday and Forest, who one would expect to improve from where they are now. They might not, but that would be the worry, is that if the likes of QPR, Birmingham, Barnsley, etc. are going to be looking at mid-table, who's actually going to finish below these teams is where you've got to look in terms of the relegation picture. So Coventry will keep plugging away with that system and those players, but my worry now for the promoted League One teams is who's finishing below you is the question that I would need answering. Let's have a look at your comments on this one. That's Star Power. Yeah, indeed. Depth of the parachute teams. It's looking like, I agree with Dan on that one. It's looking like teams are going to they're going to struggle against. I mean, what did we have yesterday? Buendia and Aarons and Pookie all playing for Norwich. Brooks, Solanke, Danjuma, all starting for Bournemouth, and for Watford, Gray. Well, I've listed all the Watford players. That may turn out to be the case. If they're all competent, they will likely all be in the top 4 at least. They may even make up the top 3, which would be very dull and predictable, but may well happen, mightn't it? Watford will go up, says Dan. Capoue impressive in the Premier League, and him in the centre midfield. Also travelling. Yeah. Guess who Watford has next? Is it QPR? QPR forever. I wonder. Credit to Cov sticking in there. I fear this season will quickly become 2 out of the 3 who came down will go back up. Automatically, their quality. It really is this season. Especially given that those players we've mentioned weren't signed. I know all the relegated clubs sold players, but they've kept some really, really good players, haven't they? Watford's fixtures are suddenly interesting now. Yes, they are, aren't they? The matchday vlogs are brilliant from Ben Foster. Ewan says, should have defended the second goal better. Can't do much about that header. Yeah, what a goal. Happy with the result. Surprised Deeney didn't take it. 400 appearances for Deeney. Be interesting to see how they play Deeney. If I'm a Watford fan, I just want them to keep all 4 of those forwards and just keep it rotating. Championship will always be mad with the odd outlier. The table is already taking shape. Yeah. Is it going to be, to quote Radiohead, no surprises this season? I wonder. There's normally a surprise, isn't there? Cov doubled their away goal tally, but still lose due to a leaky defence. And Colin adds to that, Coventry have conceded more goals than Wickham. Interesting. When was the last time all 3 relegated teams went back up? That can't have ever happened, can it? Someone get onto that in the chat, but surely that's never happened. I always predict that one of them will, go silly and fire their manager after a slightly bad start and have entire chaos there. But there's no chaos at any of the 3 clubs, are they? Even though 2 of them have had new managers, there's no chaos. And that's what kills owners, and chaos kills relegated clubs, doesn't it? And firing your manager over and over again. But there we go. Right, onward. And it is another relegated club, and it's Norwich who are in 3rd place. And they won 1-0 against Swansea. Norwich 1, Swansea 0. 84th minute goal from Marco Stiepermann. Norwich brings Zimmerman back in. Good news for them defensively. Gibson's out though. Sorensen is still playing left back. McLean comes in for Rupp. Otherwise, they keep the front four the same, which is key. Swansea, and we'll talk about it in respect to the actual game. Still, they don't trust Gyökeres on loan from Brighton up top. Still playing essentially two wingers up top. And, we'll talk about Jamal Lowe's finishing. Casey Palmer comes in at number 10. Norton, Bennett, Guay, Bidwell, Roberts. So fairly stayed. Grimes still can't get in the starting lineup. Neither can Manning as well. Let's have a look at quite an open game with a fair few chances, but only the one goal. This is Placheta. That won't go down as a big chance on SofaScore because of pressure on the shooter and a player in the way, but a bit more composure. Can he find the huge gap to Woodman's right there? So Norwich not taking that chance. Then that is Andre Ayew, such a good player, hitting the post there. Is Krul getting that? I don't know. Flash header there off the post from Ayew. And then first, you can see Hanley is putting pressure on him from Lowe's right. But look, guys, that's virtually on the penalty spot on the floor, isn't it? So big chance there for Lowe. Pookie with pressure on him gets a good toe poke away there. That's a good save from Woodman. I can't quite recall whether that was offside or not, but a good effort and a good save there. And again, look at that. Jamal Lowe, no pressure on him between him and the keeper. You can see, is that McLean behind him holding his hands up? Doesn't score. Krul makes the save both times, and neither are really worldy saves. And then Norwich always have the quality to get the win late on if you don't take your chances against them. And this is really good from Stiepermann. Buendia's held it up, lays it back. It's another assist for Buendia. And that's perfect, isn't it? I swear I went to a Norwich game and they played Sheffield Wednesday. I swear I saw Stiepermann score virtually exactly the same goal. Just nice technique, left foot, nice and hard and low into the corner. And you've got a chance. And I dare say, if Jamal Lowe tries either of those Stiepermann finishes, he scores one of those two chances, doesn't he? Hard and low into the corner. Lowe didn't manage to do it. Stiepermann did. Norwich get the win in the 84th minute. And in a tight game, have you got a good keeper? Yes, Tim Krul. Yes, Freddie Woodman. Are you going to take your chances? No, Jamal Lowe. Yes, Marco Stiepermann. So Norwich get the win in a tight game, and they're in really nice form at the moment. Let's have a look at the numbers. And the numbers do tell us this was a tight game. 21 shots, 90. How was there not more goals in this? 5 shots apiece on target. 11 corners to 4 in Swansea's favour. The one big chance to nil. Again, please don't, if I ever quote big chance stats, please don't cry about them, any fans of any teams. Go and write SofaScore a letter. It's all done on an algorithm, so no one's opinion. 504 passes to 360. So tight game. Norwich come out on top. They are the masters of just getting over the line in these games now, aren't they? And they're in really good form, aren't they? Look, from the last 5 games there for Norwich, 11 points. Keep that going and you will be promoted, especially when they're already in 3rd place. The issue now for all 3 of the parachute teams is how many of them are going to get 90 points? Can all 3 of them get 90 points? I don't know if they can. I remember a couple of seasons, was it Newcastle and then Brighton and Middlesbrough all up there? I remember when I was much, much younger. My team, Ipswich, a couple of times losing out with a huge points total. That might be the issue. Someone might be in the playoffs with 88 or even higher points this season. So we shall see. Let's have a look at some of your comments on this one. It's Norwich late goal time. Ben, you should make that a design. Can you imagine, Annie, me as an Ipswich fan selling merchandise? Even if I wear anything yellow, I get a load of grief from Ipswich fans. So Good win for Norwich. Paul Mercer made me laugh. He couldn't figure out where the chances were coming from. Krill has been immense for Norwich this season. Hey, and if it's a battle between the 3 parachute teams, maybe having the best goalkeeper might go a long way this season, mustn't it? Parachute teams had the luxury of bringing on fringe players which can change games, as Ballymumba did yesterday. Indeed. Tim Krul, world-class player, kept us in the game. Again, was the depth that kept us double substitution. Yeah, very, very true, Dan. Agreed. John says, I assume if Norwich were to get promoted, they will buy players, as this team has proven to be inept in the Premier League. I suspect they might. Steve says, Krill, our player of the season so far, saved us against Rotherham, Brentford and Swansea yesterday. They need to start making more chances. Massive squad depth is going to give us an edge. Yeah, I totally agree with all of those comments. And what I will say, and Norwich fans, don't get upset with me. It's not a criticism. It's a fact that these games have been won by bits of quality often. If you look at the Vrancic free kick against Wickham, the Vrancic goal against Birmingham, this goal by Steeperman, it's not forcing the huge chance and wearing the team down. They are bits of quality in terms of the finishing, which is great, and it is appearing viable. And the goalkeeper's brilliant, isn't it? Is what everybody is saying. So very interesting to analyse Norwich. I'll go ahead in the next couple of days and do a ranking teams so far and how they would be doing. And Norwich is going to be a really interesting one because there is the sense, even in third position, that, I mean, they're clearly not clicked the way they did in 18-19. So be interesting to see where they go from this position of doing well, but still not 100% the idea that they've clicked if they're relying on late goals, good finishes and the goalkeeper. So it'll be interesting. Swansea looking good. Tight game against the top team. They didn't win it, and have Swansea and Brentford, Reading are up there, Bristol City. Have they got their work cut out to get past these 3 Year One parachute teams this season? It's going to be tricky looking at it against those 3, isn't it? I wonder if that's going to be the narrative going forward. Josh adds, all of the relegated teams nicking wins. And the worry is for everyone else that they actually start to really push on and go on good runs, because you could see 3 teams with a lot of points this season. Chris said I was going to, I'll do some kind of review. I might do it as rankings or tiers in terms of, because I'll get the normal stupid comments. Just look at the league table. And it's like, well, go play in traffic or something, if that's the level of your analysis. But we will do some, I might do rankings. I'll have a think about it. There'll be time at least over the international break. Right, another team, our 3rd Year One parachute team. They are currently 2nd, 3rd and 4th is Bournemouth, and they win 3-1 over at Karanka's Birmingham there, and they were 3-0 up in this one as well. And we're going to talk about strength in depth and quality again. And look, there's Solanke and Danjuma up top with King, Surridge, Riquelme, Gosling, Smith have all started this season for Bournemouth and all have Premier League experience, don't they? Birmingham, San Jose seems to be the key player for them. Is he a midfielder? Is he a centre-half? Hogan and Jutkovic up top together. Boyd Munst, that must be either a debut or a first appearance of the season. I'm not familiar overly with the player. Let's have a look. Get your comments in on Birmingham versus Bournemouth. Let's have a look at the action in this one. Here is that Stanislaus, I think, playing in Danjuma, Danjuma's excellent, isn't he? Touch, finish. How many goals is he going to get this season? And again, we talked about the Watford forwards. I suppose that's the one difference here. And it's an interesting comparison between the 3 parachute teams. Norwich definitely have the best goalkeeper. But in terms of forwards, Norwich have Pukki and Hugel, and the strength of the other forwards. Do goals win you promotion, or do tight defences win you promotion? I've heard arguments for both. Be interesting debate going forward. But Danjuma gives them the lead. This is a lucky goal. I think even Bournemouth fans would admit this. Brooks hits the shot. Big deflection. Who is that? Roberts, is it? Or I think so. Big deflection. And, of course, where's the worst place it can go, as we always say with deflections? Right there. And Etheridge can't quite get it. And then 3-0. That has rebounded off the post from Solanke's shot. And look where Brooks puts this. Slams it in off the bar. You ain't saving that one. So 2 goals for Brooks now. And that's another one. We talked about Buendia and Sarr and now Deeney and Gray working their way into the season. David Brooks is now starting for Bournemouth and scoring 2 goals in a game. He's a good, very good player at this level, isn't he? Birmingham score, though, to get 1 back. Bella, free kick. There is Hogan. What you going to do, brother? On the near post. Glances the header in off the far post. A nice goal by Hogan. Let's have a look at the numbers on this one. Get your comments in on the game. Second win as well this season at St Andrews. Bournemouth already scored 6 goals there as well. Probably their favourite stadium. Bournemouth beating Coventry earlier in the season there. We did that as a watch-along. 7 shots to 3 on target. 10 corners to 5. 2 big chances to 1. 501 to 294 on the possession. Looks like a fairly comfortable win, doesn't it, for Bournemouth? There is where the 2 teams are. So Bournemouth tucking in with Watford and Norwich, the other 2 Year 1 parachute teams, on 20 points. And I think all 3 of the parachute teams would be happy with that at the moment. They would all be confident of getting past Reading. And it's just a case now of, will any of them choke? If none of them choke, who's going to get the most points? And will all 3 of them have to be high 80s, or even might you have to score over 90 points to finish second this season? That would be the case if all 3 of these teams keep on trucking the way they are. Birmingham, 17th, 2 defeats on the bounce. They've been on good form. Lost 2 home games there. Look, losing to a Year 1 parachute team, fine, whatever, but they lost at home to Wickham in the week. So they'll be a bit disappointed with that. And I suppose looking at where Barnsley, Birmingham, QPR are at the moment, are you safe in that position? Is the tide going to rise from the bottom? What we do know is if the 3 Year 1 parachute teams do play to form this season, that means whipping, boys. That means they're going to beat everybody. Which, by definition, we know league tables, it's the butterfly flapping his wings at the top has a big effect on the Amazon rainstorm forest at the bottom. If the top 3 teams all have high 80s, we have to have whipping, boys. So the total will drop at the bottom. We'll see if that pans out. We can't have both. We can't have a high tide at the top and the bottom. It doesn't work like that. Only 3 points can go to one team every game, if you know what I mean. Let's get your comments in here on this one. Let's have a look. John, Birmingham fan. Bournemouth, class above, speed and quality, move the ball, scary. Missing key players. Second goal was pillar. Only positive was Hogan scoring. Let's have a look anymore. Tight defensive, definitely win promotion for me. Provide solidarity. So there's a tick in the box for Norwich rather than, although Watford will have a tight defence. Maybe does that get Watford and Norwich ahead of Bournemouth? We'll see. Let's have a look here. Any more comments on this one? No, I do not think so. Okay, we are moving on to... let me just read that comment. Don't forget the minute's silence. Where was that, Russ? Yeah. Look, I'm going to keep broadcasting, but with full respect for the minute's silence. If you want to be silent while I'm talking, then fine. But it is what it is, and I have the utmost respect for remembrance and for the poppies. But we'll keep going. We'll keep going through with that caveat. Right. Thank you for reminding me. Where are we going next? Cardiff 0, Bristol City 1, which we did on Friday night as a watch-along. Thank you for everybody joining me there. And Bristol City get into the international break. Don't call them streaky. Bristol City get into the international break in that top 6 after a bad little run there. Early goal from Chris Martin in this one. We did Bristol City on the watch along, and much to the tears of some of the Norwich fans, were quite critical of their three centre-half defence. And lo and behold, Dean Holden, the professional football manager of Bristol City, agreed with us. So Taylor Moore, out and going to a back four with a double pivot in front. So they did need to remedy how easy they were to play through. Different challenge, of course, against Cardiff with crosses into the box and throw-ins, etc. And they passed the test. We'll look at the numbers at the end, but I did watch this game, so I can give you the eye test as well on that one. Here is the early goal. The early bird catches the worm, indeed, if I can find the right shot. I think that's the first one. There we go. So they got caught out, didn't they, Cardiff, for this goal? Bristol City playing a front three. It was hard to know what shape Bristol City were actually going to use. And maybe Cardiff got caught cold, not really knowing where Wells and Semenyo and Martin were going to go. And they did them in the first 2 minutes here. So Wells went out left and played it to Mattheson, who slips it. Look at Semenyo hovering there, just onside. Low cross. You'd be disappointed from a Cardiff point of view. The amount of players in the way of Semenyo. There's a player in the way of Semenyo and Martin and the keeper. But it's a nice early cross and a nice little finish, actually. Nice soft feet by Martin around the corner there just to get ahead of Big Morrison and stick that into the back of the net. Cardiff didn't create anything other than headed chances. Kiefer Moore came close a couple of times. Unfortunately for Cardiff, the best headed chance was for Junior Hoylett, not for Kiefer Moore, Sean Morrison or Rob Glatzel. And Hoylett, strangely there, Hunt's putting pressure on him, but he has to just glance that into the net. And I think he just jumps ahead of the ball and ends up actually heading it away from the goal. But that would be, I'm sure it will come up as a big chance. Yes, indeed, on SofaScore, that close to the goal and a headed chance. Well played, Bristol City. Really good game management, I have to say, scoring that early. And you just have to stop Moore from the crosses. You have to stop Morrison from the set plays. And then you have to stop Hoylett and Wilson on the dribbles. And they did. They did all of that. So they managed the game well. I know if you looked in isolation without watching the game at the numbers, you'd go, 17 shots to 4, 5 shots on target to 1. But other than that Hoylett chance, when did Bristol City really have their hearts in their mouths on this one? And it's a good win, really, isn't it? A good away performance and good 89 minutes of game management away at Cardiff, who you know are going to cause your centre-backs trouble, and especially how bad the centre-backs were in the game against Norwich. They obviously prefer the threat of the aerial ball than the quick ball in behind them, but much, much better from Bristol City. And if we look at the tables, don't call them streaky, but a little bit streaky. So they won the first 4, didn't they? And then no wins in the next 5, and then 2 straight wins. So 20 points from 11 is, if it's good enough for Bournemouth, it's certainly good enough for Bristol City, isn't it? And they are in 5th spot in there. And it's just going to be tricky for Bristol City, Swansea. You'd expect Brentford to make a challenge. Reading, who are up there already, to challenge the behemoth of 2nd, 3rd and 4th at the moment, isn't it? Cardiff, inconsistent. And a few people are asking me, I'm sure we'll get something in the comments right now as well, I haven't checked, about Neil Harris. And at what point in the season will Vincent Tan not tolerate Cardiff being in 15th place? Will that be pre-Christmas? Will that be spring? Or will that be the what we saw with, say, Alex Neil at Norwich or Lee Johnson at Bristol City, where you get the season, but the second promotion's not viable, out you go. And Cardiff is still a year 2 parachute team, aren't they? Should they be higher? They've invested in loans. Harry Wilson will have high output, we know that, but Vincent Tan and Mehmet Dauman are going to want a higher output than 13 points in 11 games, let's just say. Let's see what you're saying in the comments, guys. Let's have a look. Got you, Russ. Thanks for the heads up, buddy. Let's have a look here. George says, good start against Cardiff. Then we defended amazingly solid. So different from the watch along, wasn't it, that we did last week? At least we can get a break now and get Williams and Walsh fit. Yeah, very, very good. Jason says, what a nervous game. City scoring made it 80 odd minutes of chewing your nails. Yeah, I know that might be the fans' perspective, Jason, but from a neutral's perspective, I thought they managed it well. I know it's really hard when you're a fan of a team. You see any attacking, you're like, oh God, we're going to concede. I know, but have Bristol City been in the playoffs recently? Not since 2008, I don't think, Jay. Always seem around there, or will they drop off towards the end? It's going to be hard this season if those three parachute teams all, if none of them have a crazy season. So. Still can't work out why Wilson went to Cardiff. Style of play really doesn't suit. Maybe what we'll say, John, is in terms of building up the play, no, the style of play doesn't suit. But in terms of getting the ball into areas early and he'll be encouraged to dribble and shoot, maybe it does in a different way. I don't know. We'll find out. You may turn out to be right, John. Mike says, fantastic win away for Bristol City. Our ability to grind out results when needed will stand us in good stead for the rest of the season. Maybe this could be our year via the playoffs. Again, I'm going to keep talking about those parachute teams. Not all three of those teams can get in the top two. You may have to play one of those teams having a good season in the playoffs, and it might just be too much. I don't want to boil it all down to that, but those squads, if they're not required to sell in January, those squads look strong, don't they? Can't believe Derby allowed Bristol City, Chris Martin to go to Bristol City. Look at the impact he's had on their team. Yeah, I think it was just a money thing and a change of scene. But Ridley, more to the point, they haven't replaced him either, Derby. And look, Derby are going to be at the end of the show, but we'll talk about that indeed. Let's move on. We just had a delayed pilot there. Excellent business getting Martin. Yeah, it has been, hasn't it? And adding that to Wells, which was 4 million quid, wasn't it? So expensive signing. Look, let's be honest. We're all smart subscribers here. We know Martin wasn't free. We know a zero transfer fee means a high contract, maybe a signing on fee, an agent fee. But still, it's a good player into a good squad. That might be a T-shirt. Free transfers aren't free, which we all know here. But it doesn't mean it's not a good signing. I just spent years trying to explain to people that sometimes a free transfer actually costs more than a £750,000 transfer. And as I would always say, show me the evidence and I will be proved wrong. Right, we go into Brentford versus Borough, which was 0-0. So Borough in 7th. Borough, 10 games unbeaten. And we'll talk about their defensive record and their managers, let's just say. So 0-0 in this one. Warnock will be very happy with that one. Brentford, not good at home, actually, Brentford. Do you just flick up the record and see? They're 7th. They've only won 2 in 6. I'm just thinking of that they've come up against Norwich and Borough recently and not beaten either of them at home. And in terms of if you're going to be challenging at the top, you've got to win home games against direct rivals. And much to the excellent work of Mr. Neil Warnock, Borough, having been in real relegation trouble under Woodgate last season, parachute payments running out, have sprung all the way up into 7th and 10 unbeaten and one of the best defensive teams in the league. Whatever you say about him, that's excellent over first 11 games from Warnock, isn't it? Back 4, apparently, Dykesteel, Fry, McNair, but they're still light at the back, aren't they? To have that defensive record, it's all Warnock and pattern of play, not having the best centre-halves in the league, is it? Howson, Tavernier, Spence Wing, Coulson behind Akpom. So now you have the options of Johnson and Assombalonga, Brown and Roberts on the bench. Notice there, not seven substitutes. There are only 6 substitutes there. Interesting. Impressive stuff, though, from Borough. Brentford, look, we always expect a 4-3-3. No Janssen still. Sørensen comes in next to Pinner. I think they tried good there. Haven't tried Dalsgaard in at centre halves, had they? Midfield 3, Janelt comes in with De Silva and Jensen. Norgard still injured and not playing there. Marcondes on the bench. Kanyos gets the go. It just seems at the moment that you know it's going to be Tony, you know it's going to be Mbuemo, you know that Force is going to come on at some point for Tony. And then it's between Fosu, Kanyos and Godos to get that position down the left. As you'd imagine, not much in the way of action and pictures to show you from this one, guys. But we have a couple of shots here. That is Chuba Akpom. Nice play by, is it Roberts, number 16, who squared it to him on the break. Spins, hits the shot. There's no actual pressure on the shooter there. So if he can find the corner in the same way like, say, Stieperman did for Norwich, that's a goal, isn't it? I'm stating the bleeding obvious. Who missed that chance? I don't know who that is arriving for Brentford. Someone will tell me in the chat. That is a gilt-edged chance. If it's on the floor, he's definitely scoring. We'll give him a little pass that it's bouncing. But over the top there, left foot. It's not Force, is it? I don't know who that is. Someone let me know who missed a big chance there for Brentford in that game on that very blurry picture I managed to get. Let's look at the numbers. Very tight. Okay, 60-40 on the possession. But look, 7 shots each, 1 shot on target each. 4 corners to 1 for Borough. 1 big chance apiece. 470 to 300. And if you're a Borough fan, you'll be so pleased compared to last season under Woodgate and the first year without parachute payments and players gradually dripping out that, look, going away to Brentford, very competitive. Before we look at your comments, let's look at the table. And you'll see Borough in 7th position, 18 points from 11, 5 goals conceded in 11 games. 5 goals in 11 games. That is under half a goal a game, isn't it? By my quick math. 10 unbeaten. I think you just have to tip your cap to Warnock to from where Woodgate had them to where they are now. Look, they may not finish there. We know Stoke and Millwall are going to grind in a similar way. We know Brentford will probably come a bit higher in the table. And we know you're against these 3 year 1 parachute teams this season. But that's really excellent from Borough. And Brentford, yeah, just 4 wins in the first 11 is not going to be good enough through the season. They need more wins. They need to just get this clicking. Okay, they're missing Janssen and Norgard, aren't they, just in terms of the game management. But they're scoring goals. Tony's nearly the top scorer in the league. Well, he is the joint top scorer, isn't he, with Armstrong, who we'll come on to in a minute. Yeah, just not winning enough games, Brentford, at the moment. Let's have a look at your comments on this one. Oh, it was Howson, was it, Stephen? You wouldn't expect Johnny Howson to be missing that chance. It was on his left foot, was it? So John says, I'm not having Brentford this season. I think they'll be in a right scrap for the top 6. The tide is going to be high, we think, in the words of Blondie, this season. Another typical 0-0 Warnock drawing away at Brentford. The defence is sorted. Just need the goals now. Unbeaten in 10 thanks to the little rascal scramp Colin. Yeah, what a performance. Warnock, the Churn Master 2000. Love it. Oh, the irony. Borough are exactly where they were 2 seasons ago. Totally true. Under Pulis, who Gibson sacked before. That's a very good point, actually. And Pulis had a Dama Traore, for goodness sakes. So, yeah, fair point. And Pat Bamford, who's doing things in the Premier League, isn't he? And many other players. Yeah, very good point. Couldn't be happier. Dragging out results till January, then hopefully get more additions and push on after Christmas. Warnock is a genius. Genius may be an overused word, but he's certainly a damn good football manager, isn't he? Whatever you say about the rascal, the scamp, Colin of Warnock. We're halfway through, so we'll give Russ a shout, our fan sponsor here for the Championship Review Show, fan and friend despite Ben's terrible taste in football teams. And please help us out over in the Teespring store. It should be underneath you right now. So go and have a click and have a look there. And if we bring up our ticker, you can support via Super Chat right now, Patreon or Teesprings we've mentioned. But for absolutely free, hit the like button and get commenting. And if you haven't, even if you don't use YouTube this way, hit the subscribe button. It drives more people to the channel ultimately. So we thank each of the 13,000 people that have done that so far. We are on to game number 7, which is another 0-0 draw. Who'd have thought Gary Rowett versus Gary Monk ending in a 0-0 draw? It was Sheffield Wednesday 0, Millwall 0, and my maths tells me Sheffield Wednesday have scored 10 points this week from 2 games with the arbitration ruling that they're not going to have 12 points deducted. They're going to have 6 points deducted. And please, guys, let's not debate that in the comments now. I did a video on that earlier in the week, so go and debate that on that video. But it's been a good week for Wednesday, hasn't it? They now, I suspect if you had a bet earlier on this week, the odds have slashed in Wednesday's chances of staying up now this season. Looks a lot better with that 6 points added on and with the 4 points scored. And let's be honest, 4 points scored with no goals conceded against Bournemouth and Millwall, who will likely both be, Bournemouth will likely be in the top 4 and Millwall will likely be in the top 8. So really good week for Sheffield Wednesday. Some joy at last if you're a Wednesday fan, still in the relegation zone, obviously. But hey-ho, Wildsmith in goal, Burner, Iorfa, Van Eyck in the back 3, Odebajo and Palmer. Maybe that's a bit better balanced than playing Kadeem Harris and Adam Reach as wing-backs, isn't it, as well, defensively. Pelopessi and Bannon, so still no Luongo. Kachunga, Reach and Windass. Looks like both teams played the same system in this game. Maybe a little bit of shadowing and cancelling out, let's just say. Izzy Brown is back and making appearances off the bench. Izzy Brown, everyone knows I'm a big fan of and will give you output if you give him, if you can keep him on the damn pitch and he doesn't get injured in the Championship. Marriott and Patterson. So Monk has built this. So there are goals in that team. I mean, look, Bannon, Marriott, Patterson, Windass, Kachunga, Reach, Brown. Should be goals in that team, shouldn't they? Compared to some of the other rosters and attacking lineups in the other squads. Millwall, solid as a rock with that selection. And apparently that's Jake Cooper's 9 millionth game in a row. Someone was telling me yesterday. Brilliant stuff by him. Bialkowski, Hutchinson, Wallace, Cooper, Malone and Romeo. So solid there. Woods, Leonard, and then Wallace, Smith they go with, and Bennett. Be interesting to say the Millwall fans. I know there's no Ben Thompson in there, or Troy Parrott just hasn't got on the pitch yet, or Ken Zahor. Is that virtually your strongest Millwall team other than a couple of those players? Pretty light on chances in this one. I've got a few pictures here that we can put up. That is Josh Windass, but pressure on the shooter and a tricky angle there, straight at Bart in goal. That's Windass again. Difficult angle, less pressure on the shooter, but really a big chance, is it? That's Reach, isn't it? Players in the way. I know he scores the odd worldie Reach, doesn't he? That looks like the biggest chance of the whole game, actually. Smith has done the business there, bumping over, I guess. It was that Van Eyck on the ground there in a blurry picture. And very similar to Hoylett's header, where it heads away from the goal there. But look at that. With the player being on the ground, that's essentially a free header from just on the edge of the 6-yard box from a very good aerial player in Smith. And that's the next game. So 0-0 in this one. Look, if you're a Wednesday fan, you're very happy with the week's work and the arbitration decision. If you're a Millwall fan, I suppose you're happy with the grind. Only 2 defeats, 17 points in 11 so far. And you would say, if you gave both of these teams this after 11 games, so 2 points off the playoffs in terms of Millwall, played some difficult games, only 2 defeats. And with Wednesday, God, if you'd promised them after 11 games with a 12-point deduction at the start of the season, okay, take the arbitration and the extra 6 points into account, they are 2 points off safety after 11 games. So essentially, Sheffield Wednesday, from having to make up 12 points at game 1, they have to make up 2 points at game 11. You would take that all day long if you're a Sheffield Wednesday fan, obviously with the caveat that 6 of those points come essentially from the arbitration hearings. Let's have a look here. Brown should have been sent off for a foul on Wallace. Bart was superb. 3 big chances, miles off target with them. 3 games without scoring, but 3 consecutive clean sheets away. So, yeah, good and bad in there for Millwall. We need to get our players back in playing, says Nat. Strongest at the moment, says David. So, yeah, it would likely be one one or both of those games. We'll just read this out one more time. I'm going to keep going through the 2-minute silence with ultimate respect for the remembrance. If you want to stop watching at that point or just be silent at that point, I'm going to keep going. And I hope nobody's offended by my decision to do so. Let's move on. And it is Huddersfield 1, Luton 1. A sense that both of these sides are trending in the right direction, Huddersfield and Luton. And a 1-1 draw would, I guess, play into the narrative that they'd maybe both be happy with this one. George Moncur with the opening goal, Iain with the equaliser. Luton back four there, and Glenn Ray playing in the back four. Very good ball player for a centre half there. Dewsbury Hall and Paddy Ruddock in the central mid. Cornick starts again with Berry and Moncur. Collins looks like Jones has got a fair amount of options there. We've seen, look at the bench. We've seen all of these players starting, haven't we? And impacting Bree, Norrington Davis, Lee, Tunnicliffe, Hilton, and Luar. Maybe Luton, out of the entire league, have the most similar balance across a whole squad of any team there, and all of them seem to be able to step in, which bodes well in terms of the Hatters. For Huddersfield, nice and stable, the 4-3-3. We're very impressed with the fullbacks, Toffolo and Pippa, and I'm starting to get very impressed with Karoma as well, who's growing into the season. Let's have a look at some of the pictures on this one. And there is the opening goal. Big header back across. This is really good from George Moncur. He sprints onto that. Is that Mbenza not marking him? And slams that in on the side foot volley. Really, really good, decisive finish from him. Hamer's not getting that in the goal. Now, we need to show every phase of a brilliant goal by Huddersfield. Think about this when we do goal of the week at the end of this one. So, who is that? Who's playing in central midfield? Oh, is that Pritchard or O'Brien? I can't tell. Blurry pictures, let me know. But anyway, he breaks the lines with the initial pass. It's carried, fed out wide. There's Karoma. That is Toffolo, isn't it? The fullback on the overlap. He crosses in first time. A run from central midfield by Iain. Look at that climb. Look where he puts the header. What a goal by Huddersfield. And it's not the first time we said that about a Huddersfield goal this season. They're obviously, look, I know the easy narrative, which is probably not the smartest narrative, is, Corberon worked for Bielsa, so he's just using Bielsa's pattern of play. That's an easy narrative. There may be some truth. There may be no truth. But we have seen Huddersfield score a couple of very slick goals. And this is another really, really good one from Iain in this game. Let us have a look at the numbers. And they will tell us, what we'd probably expect. Corberon v Jones, we'd expect more possession to Huddersfield, but Luton to still create some big chances. However, look at that shots inside the box figure there. 11 for Huddersfield, 67 on the possession, 2 shots apiece on target, which is probably what we'd expect, fairly even. But big on the passes there, 5-2-1 to 250. So 2 passes to 1 in Huddersfield's favour in this game. And a decent draw and a decent game, and 2 teams doing well, let's just say. Let's have a look here. Huddersfield playing well, but fair play to Luton. They defended really well. Iain, great first goal. Karoma lucky not to be sent off. Stonewall yellow when already booked. One of those nailed on if you aren't already booked. And Chris says refs often bottle out in that situation. Yeah, we will see. I haven't seen the incident, so I couldn't comment on that. Again, I will reiterate. I know the Remembrance Day 2 minutes will be going on right now, so I'm going to continue with the broadcast with my respect to those who have fallen, and my apologies if anyone's offended by that. And feel free to come back in 2 minutes' time or take your minute silence or 2 minutes silence right now, and I'm going to keep going. Right, let's move on. It is Blackburn 3, QPR 1, and Blackburn maybe keeping up that narrative of flat track bullies and scoring against teams that aren't very good at defending. Do QPR fall into that category? I wonder. It was 3-1, and Adam Armstrong back in the team. And Adam Armstrong back to the top scorers charts. He's going to get 2 in this one. Brereton and Dykes, the other goal scorers. We did QPR the other night on the watch along. Looks like they've essentially added in a third centre midfielder from what we've seen there. So Carroll coming in, and what would it have been in the previous game? I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure they had, it would have been Bright Samuel, wouldn't it? Yeah, they definitely had a more attacking looking 3 off the front there. In terms of Blackburn, the 4-3-3, Wharton in at centre back there. Otherwise, very staid, very solid. And Elliott, Armstrong and Brereton, really good output in this game. Let's have a look at the pictures. And here is the opening goal there. Good header back across and a very good volleyed finish by Ben Brereton there. Difficult one to control. Look, he's way up in the air with both feet, and he loops that beautifully. You can see that just dropping in to the side netting. Lovely goal by Brereton for 1-0. Pick the bones out of that. That looks like, is it Rob Dickey in a sandwich there? Maybe it's a bit blurry there. I don't know if it's Jeff Cameron's the other guy. Between him and the Blackburn goalkeeper pairs, they look like they just double team him and he goes down. Pick the bones out of that. Anyway, penalty was given. Penalty was scored by Lyndon Dykes, who has he only scored penalties this season? I'm trying to think. He must have 3 penalties already, Dykes. And then here we go with a similar tale this season. Stick Adam Armstrong in behind and he will score. Harvey Elliott, nice ball through there. And poor old Bob Dickey just can't keep up with him, can he? Armstrong in behind, hits it right-footed. He's in brilliant form, isn't he? And a very highly valued striker he is becoming now. And again, look, he's so quick, he's blurring. And caption competition for Rob Dickey there, who's on halfway again. Probably thinking, oh, God, do I really have to race this guy from halfway? Through he goes. The initial shot is blocked. Dickey's kind of got back, but again, just too quick for him on the rebound. And he sticks it in the back of the net. 2 goals for Armstrong, 3-1 to Blackburn in this one. Let's have a little look at the numbers. Get your comments in on this one. 51-49 in terms of the possession. 17 shots to 11, 9-4 on target. So looks like a decent enough win for Blackburn there, 12 corners to 7. Although 3 big chances apiece would tell you that maybe Rovers finished and defended, which is the name of the game, in both penalty boxes, better than QPR did. Still a sense, like I say, we can play who have they beaten yet? And there is a sense that Blackburn are winning games against teams that have weaker defensive records. They got Derby in a bad moment and hammered them, didn't they? They got Wickham in a bad moment and hammered them. And they got Coventry with 10 men and hammered them. So Blackburn banging the goals when it's in their favour. Can they win against top half teams in a similar way? We await to find out, but they are just in the top half of the table, and they have the top striker in the division along with Ivan Toney up top. QPR, spotty, isn't it? Defeat, win, defeat. And again, you've got to look at this from the Rangers' point of view, and it's I don't mean to dig them out. Who are they finishing above is what I'm asking you as Rangers fans now. Are they finishing above Birmingham, Barnsley, Cardiff, Preston, Huddersfield, Blackburn? Who are Rangers finishing above? And where are they going? obviously with a Warburton team, they're attacking and they're open. And it's just the standoff. And when you have Eze one year and not the next year, the question is always, Eze on the goal scoring sheet for Palace yesterday, the question is always, can you manage the drop off, and can you manage the standoff between attacking and being open and conceding tons of goals, which 15 against already, only Coventry there and Wickham. Am I getting that right? Quick scan of the table. Yeah, have a worse defensive record. And this is what we saw last season. Loads of goals. And remember, the other drop off for QPR is Wells and Hugel. So you've now taken out, from a team last season that scored lots of goals and conceded lots of goals, you've taken out Eze, Wells and Hugel. And Wells is scoring for Bristol City. Hugel's kind of back up for Pookie at Norwich, and Eze's in the Premier League. So they're all obviously players now functioning in higher positions than QPR are at the moment. Sorry if that felt like I was digging out QPR. I'm just laying out where we think it's going to go. Oh, was it Kaminsky, Dizzy? Apologies. I thought it was Pears. Felt like a sucker punch. Second half, we were actually good. Senny Dieng. Yeah, Dieng made a very good save. I can only have a limited number of pictures in StreamYard, my software here. So, Dieng made a very good save from a header in the first half. Chris, I'm not reading that out. That's appalling. How many can Armstrong get this season? Lots. I mean, God, we haven't had a 30-goal scorer since Glenn Murray, have we, for goodness sakes? Can Armstrong or Tony get 30? I wonder. QPR need to be more consistent, especially with Chair and Linden. QPR, Fred, would you like to see Chair just stick him in the 10 position with Dykes and leave him, and then Bon is the reserve? It's interesting. We'll see. Tom says, as a QPR fan, I think we may be safe for teams like Wickham and Coventry. So that was the question I was asking, Tom, is are QPR capable of finishing above the teams promoted from League One and the worst that the Championship has to offer? Or are QPR capable of finishing above, these teams that we think might be mid-table-ish teams like Blackburn, Birmingham, Preston are there at the moment, Huddersfield, maybe Luton if they drop a little bit. I don't know. Where are we pitching QPR in this 24? And that's a really good comment. Be happy to survive, but if that's the target long term. And I have to say, as an Ipswich fan, unless the parachute system is changed, which we all hope it will be, and we don't get this gross distortion of some teams getting 45 million quid TV money and some teams getting 7 million quid TV money. Unless that changes, I hate to say, unless the recruitment is very, very good, it trends in one direction. Ipswich had no parachute money, bad recruitment. You know where that's going in the end. If that lasts season after season after season, I'm telling you, that's where it's going. You need either really good management or really good recruitment. And if you have even one season with really bad management, you're out of here, is all I'll say. Josh says QPR will stay up. Coventry concede too many. Rotherham don't win many. Wickham not good enough. Then you have awful Derby and Wednesday with a deduction. Yeah, all caveats to maybe QPR being able to finish higher than some of those teams. Right, 3 to go, guys, and it is Rotherham 2, Preston 1. We say Rotherham don't win many. They don't, but it was a really good win for them over Preston, who I think I predicted this one, didn't I? I think everyone was saying Preston's away form, is so good that they're definitely going to win. So I went for a defeat just for a laugh, and I was right. There we go. Maybe I should put that much effort into all of my predictions. So 2-1, Wood, Ledson and Crooks on the score sheet here. Wood coming in the central defence, the very experienced Wood ahead of Johansson. I don't know what's up with Blackman. I guess he's injured. Vassell and sadly flanking Ladapo with Barlaser, Wiles and Lindsay. So nice and solid Rotherham. And that's all these League One teams can do, isn't it? Try and challenge recruitment-wise, get a solid team, solid pattern of play, and see if it gets you enough points. And we have our fingers crossed for all of them. Although I have to say, we've got 3 teams that have to go down at the end of the season, and Rotherham are looking like giving this a good go 11 games in. Preston looks fairly stayed across the back 4 there. Excuse me, I've dropped my pen. Johnson, Ledson, the double pivot with Brown, Sinclair, Potts and Reese up top. Plenty of individual quality in there. Let's just have a look at some of the pictures in this one. Big chance for Dan Johnson, you can see there at 0-0. Player of his quality should be scoring that, shouldn't they? And here is the first goal, nodded back across by, excuse me, Ihekwa. I was going to guess that it was him by the size of him, but I didn't know his number. And Wood, it's a good bit of play. Wood, for years, has been good at set play, scoring from set plays, hasn't he? In fact, I saw Richard Wood score 2 goals in a playoff final at Wembley against Shrewsbury. He controls it and smacks it in from the angle with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like Uma Thurman in Kill Bill, doesn't it? Players surrounding him. Here's the equaliser. Corner comes in, goes out wide to Ledson. And one of 2 things will be true, or a bit of both here. That's either a really brilliant finish or Johansson can't quite see. I think it might be a little bit of both, because he is going to get that right into it. Look at that. Maybe it's a really good finish. But it's always difficult, isn't it, when it goes loose and all of the players are all pushing out at the same time and you get the shot come back against you. That said, this is brilliant from Florian Josephson, who I know Derby fans will be going, why the hell didn't he ever do this at Derby? Well, what about this for an assist from Josephson? Picks it up. He's going to beat a man, come inside, outstrength is that Potts there, and then slide it in to Matt Crooks. And this is lovely play by Crooks. Touch, and look where he's looking, and look where he's going to put it. Gives Rudd the eyes. You can see Rudd kind of knows at that point he's been done, because he's stretching out the right arm. And I don't have the ball going into the net. What a shame. There we go. Nice, 2 nice finishes from the Royal. Actually, three nice finishes in this game. Period. However, Rotherham do get away with a little bit of luck at the end there. Johansson is all at sea in no man's land, the keeper. Reese, is that Reese or is that Stockley? Let me know in the comments. Glancing header, look at that. They're all beaten and it hits the post. Get your comments in on this one. Rotherham getting an important win against away gurus. Preston, 3 big chances to 2. So Rotherham did create stuff. And I guess the narrative is, we've said Rotherham quite a few times have been in a tight game and lost it, or at least not won it this season. Rotherham winning the tight game. Good job by Paul Warne and the Rotherham boys there. Nice one. Let's have a look at the table. Preston, just very erratic this season, aren't they? In terms of, beating Brentford 4-2, thrashing Reading 3-0 as well away from home, losing to Rotherham. No offence, but those results don't add up, do they? And being so good at home and so bad at home, so good away, and then just erratic, aren't they, Preston? And they sit in 14th because of that. If you extrapolate all of Preston's best performances, they're one of the better teams in the league. If you extrapolate all their worst ones, they're one of the worst teams in the league. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but there you go. Rotherham, again, we're playing who's finishing lower than them, and that's no offence to Rotherham, but 12 points in 11 games is very viable. And my prediction is that you won't need 46 points to stay up this season. I think at this point, and I'll change my prediction if I feel differently later in the season, I think the 3 parachute teams will push the tide at the top, and a high tide at the top may well mean a low tide at the bottom. So if Rotherham can pull out over 40 points, maybe 42, 44, that might be a viable target for staying up this season. We will find out. They're on target for over 46 at the moment, over a point per game. So good start by Rotherham. I'm giving that a decent thumbs up from me. Let's have a look at comments here. puts pressure on Preston's home form. It really does. Yeah, if you're losing all your home games, you start losing your away games. That means you're losing all your games if you don't get those wins coming either way around. Right, God, let's talk about Derby. What is going on at Derby, who are bottom of the league? I mean, obviously we're going to Barnsley because they're 16th. That's why we're there first. But I think the story is Derby, isn't it? And their horrendously bad start to the season. It was Derby 0, Barnsley 2. It just has the air now that as much as I like Koku and he did well in Turkey and in Holland, I think it's done, isn't it? This is a big club, Derby, and you can't be bottom of the league after 11 games and survive. I'm just not sure you can. And we expect a takeover to come. This just doesn't feel viable, does it? Let's have a look here. Scrolling down. Marshall in goal. Bielik returned. Some good news for Derby. Davis and Clark in a back three. So again, change of system. We're seeing all the patterns of a manager about to lose his job. The only one that's normally changing the goalkeeper is the last Hail Mary, isn't it? Buchanan comes back in. I like him, good player. Shinnie and Knight, but Rooney up top with Waghorn and Lawrence. No Josviak, which I know irritated some of my Derby friends and subscribers here. Some strength on the bench. Look, Bird, Josviak and Sibley, a lot of people would have as first teamers, wouldn't they? So there you go. It's another change of system and another defeat is what I will say. Walton, very stable for Barnsley. Solbauer, Hellick, Anderson is the same every game. Britton and Styles is now settled wing-backs, isn't it? Mowat has been joined in the last few games, by James. Where they do rotate is up top. And I like the strength, actually. If you have that solid defence and midfield, and you've got... So Chaplin, Woodrow and Freeser start this one, but then look on the bench. Adebojo, Simos, Thomas, Kane. Plenty of options up top there, isn't there, to change things up. And this really has the air of Derby. I talk about teams where everything is going wrong, and you make a mistake, you get punished, you lose. That's what happens to teams that have got no confidence whatsoever. And there is David Marshall, who we know is a very good goalkeeper, but look at your picture, look at Connor Chaplin. He knows that ball's going to Matt Clark. He's already on the move, isn't he? And it's a really bad ball out of defence. And then it's just everything goes against you because Chaplin hits the shot. Marshall actually dives past the ball and it goes behind him. So even that couldn't go for Derby. They couldn't get the bit of luck where Marshall just throws himself across the ball and the ball hits him and they get away with it. They get punished. It is what it is when you're at the bottom, isn't it? Lovely goal, the second one. Adebojo. I'll just make a note of that for when we get to goal of the week. Comes in off the left later on in the game. And it's a lovely finish, isn't it? And he curls it into the corner past Marshall. You tip your hat on a goal like the second one, but the first one, just blur, Let's have a look at the numbers and just ineffective, isn't it? 71% possession, but conceded 17 shots against 29% possession. 5 on target to 3. 0 big chances from 71. Oh, dear. Just doesn't make good reading for Derby at all, does it? 715 passes to not create a single big chance is just hopeless, isn't it? Oh, Derby, dearie me. We can just see this doesn't look viable. And look at the league table. And let me just remind you who Derby County are. Brian Clough was their manager. They won the championship. They're in the playoffs very, very regularly in this division. They're not... what's the rank there? 44th in the pyramid out of 92 is not where Derby County normally function, is it? Let's just say. And you can only see Cocu getting fired, can't you? Can you see a scenario where he's kept and they go on a winning run and move up the table, especially with new owners coming in? You just can't see it. I'm sorry, you just can't see that. This is Derby we're talking about here as well. So maybe the takeover necessitates it. Maybe Morris says, look, I'm only interested in the sale now, and the Arabs come in, and then it's their choice. But if I'm taking over a club that normally finishes at least in the top half and regularly in the playoffs, and has won the league title in the last, 40, 50 years, I don't want them functioning there, is all I would say. Barnsley, big thumbs up for Valerian Ismail, who's won 3 out of his first 4 games. But we have said a long time now, Barnsley have good players and should not be functioning in the bottom, definitely not in the bottom 6, maybe not in the bottom 8 this season. I had them in the middle of the table somewhere. Let's have a look at your comments. Dave says, after 11 games, Ipswich's record was... Oh, is it the same? God. And I can tell you all about that Ipswich team. It was hopeless. Sunderland after 11. So, yes, worrying, Dave. But what I would say is there are differences for those 2 teams. Ipswich were about to collapse under the weight of not challenging for years, changing their manager, and chaos. There was chaos at Ipswich, and there was obviously chaos at Sunderland. What I would say about Derby is... they've got a lot of good players. There's not many League One players in that derby. Ipswich signed really bad players, and Sunderland just the owner took the parachute money out and left them with nothing, and they went through 3 managers. I just can't fathom a competent manager going into Derby with Marshall, Clark, Bielik, Byrne, Bird, Rooney, Shinnie. They're not relegation players, are they? Waghorn, Lawrence, Josh Fiak. I can't see a competent manager going in there, stabilising, uniting the dressing room and not moving up the table. But I can't see Cocu not being fired, is all I would say. So good comparisons there, Dave. And hopefully from your point of view as a Derby fan, the differences I've outlined will see a different outcome. Because you could probably have a similar stats for Stoke last season and Barnsley last season, who both survived, didn't they? So let Cocu stay until the game at Ashton Gate. Ho-hum. 71% possession and 0 big chances. Those 2 stats don't add up, do they? Not by a good team. Fantastic goal by Adebayojo. Touch and finish were better than expected for someone who hasn't scored for 18 months, by God. Ridley says, I've seen every kick of football under Cocu and can tell you it's going backwards. Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? In reality, we've been an awful football team under... Yep, there you go. Fair points, all fair points here. Cocu is self-isolating the new bonus. Yeah, it just all doesn't look good, does it? Sunderland, Leicester, Norwich, Ipswich, Blackburn, Wolves. No team is too big to go down in League One, I fear, for Derby. Fair comment. What I would say is about the chaos at a lot of those clubs. Look, we could get chaos at Derby. They could bring in a new manager that's the wrong manager under an ownership change the manager again, and I will change my mind. Owners relegate clubs and chaos relegates clubs. So it's all about if the ownership changes, the right decision. Mick McCarthy, someone's going to shout that in a minute, aren't they? Getting the right guy in there, and I'm sure there will be calls for Mick as well. A solid, stable appointment. But yeah, I take JR's point there totally. If you do have a situation where they hire the wrong manager, spend money and change players in January, fire the manager they've hired, of course they could go down. But let's just be smart with it and hope they don't do any of those things. Chaos and owners are the only things that can relegate Derby with that squad, is all I'll say. Stats are damning. Derby are the worst team in the league. Scored the least, conceded the most. Lowest expected goals. Yeah. Let's hope they can change it. My best supporting years were in the old Division 3. There you go. No striker. That is very true. Yeah, no striker. David says, been away for a while. Hope I'm well. There you go. Mick McCarthy. The new manager who comes in needs to be someone who knows what they're doing in England and who can inspire the players. I know I find Mick funny, but players love Mick and he knows what he's doing. I will say he meets your criteria. Morris has thrown money at promotion by various dubious means and then sold it when he's run out there in the worst position for years. No club is too big to go down. No. Leeds have been down. Forest have been down. Wednesday have been down. My team, Ipswich, is down at the moment. Norwich has been down. Sheffield United has been down. No club is too big to go down, but I maintain a sensible transition to the new ownership and the right hire, and they'll be absolutely fine. But I do accept a bad hire, a bad transfer window, fire in the bad hire. Yeah, they could go down, but there's a lot of bad decisions that need to be made between now and the end of the season for Derby to go down is what I would say. Now, exactly the sort of hire you'd probably want if you're a Derby manager would be Chris Hughton, who has come in at Forest, and now everyone looks at Forest and says, well, you know, they're not going to use the same analysis that we're putting on Derby at this moment in time. Hughton gets his second straight win. Oh, God, yeah, you're right. Mick McCarthy's just gone to Cyprus. Forget all of that. There you go. Forget that, the Mick comparison. But that would have been the type of manager a week ago. But, yeah, good point on Mick. I'd forgotten that the last week. Silly me. Mick McCarthy, got him on the brain. Actually, I bet Mick's regretting that. He's like, no championship jobs are going to come up. Although, knowing Mick, he'll probably know that that job's not going to come up. So maybe Derby already have someone lined up. Who knows? Anyway, sorry, I'm supposed to be talking about Nottingham Forest versus the Wycombe Wanderers, they would say in America, wouldn't they? And it was 2-0 in this one. Wycombe's little splurge of points scoring ends. Both teams fairly solid. Ribeiro's come back in now at left back after Ianis got sent off. Guerrero and Taylor starting up top in this one. Amiobi comes back in again. So no Freeman, no Lolly. He's on the bench as well. Graben still not around. All I can say is Guerrero must have done well in training to play himself into that team. Let's have a look at the goals. Last one of the day here, guys. Thank you for staying with me. Christy floats this one in to the back post. Tell me which of these two things is true. This is either a very good cross or the Wycombe players get a little bit caught ball watching here because it floats over and Allsop moves all the way across. And from a Wycombe persuasion, you're like, how are Forest scoring from that a little bit, aren't you? So anyway, from a Forest point of view, you're very happy with the cross and the header. And in it goes from Lyle Taylor. And lovely goal by Taylor here. Look where he picks it up. He's going to drive into the box, beat a man, and slam it into the corner. So Lyle Taylor is now entering a decent period of form now for Forest. I think he must have 4 in his last 3. Someone will correct me in the chat. Let's have a look at the numbers. Neither of these managers renowned for their possession-based football, but someone's got to have the ball, and it's Forest, 59%, 13 shots to 12. 5 shots on target to 6. This looks like a fairly even game. 1 in the penalty boxes, doesn't it? There you go. 3 big chances to 0. 4-6-3 on the passes to 3-0-1. So without having seen anything other than highlights, I would suggest that a bit of quality and Lyle Taylor, the difference in this game, and Forest go on and take the 3 points. Have a look at the table. Get your comments in on this one. Forest move on to 12 points. Excuse me, I haven't put it up. So a nice gap between them and the relegation zone, which is the first thing that Hughton had to do. I know ambitions will be higher than that at Forest. And when we're playing who are you going to finish higher than, Forest would probably likely be ticking off more teams than some of the other teams we've played it with. We did play it with QPR and Blackburn, didn't we? I would think Forest would have ambitions, given some of the quality in their squad and the experience of their manager, to be able to go ahead and move on up that table. I think maybe the second quartile might be it for Forest this season, but you never know. Look, if Forest were to turn those 2 wins into 4 wins and a draw from a 5-game period, then it would take that type of run now to get them challenging. But I keep saying, if all 3 of those year 1 parachute teams are firing this season, then going to be difficult for promotion pushes for teams coming from way back. Let's just say Wycombe, 7 points from 11. Ultimately, that's not going to be good enough, is it? But, sorry, my mouse is doing weird things there. But they'll be much, much happier with that run because they've scored, frankly, 7 points in the last 4 games, haven't they? So, extrapolate 7 points from 4 games, or even better, they did 7 points from 3. That's much better. So, if the Wycombe going forward is the Wycombe of the last 4 games, there's a challenge here. If not, they'll be relegated. But again, I will say we're seeing the 3 League One teams now into the bottom 6 within 11 games. Obviously, Rotherham have got far more points than, or 4 and 5 more points than Wycombe and Coventry. But you just start to worry again, however well run all 3 of those League One teams from last season have been. Who are they finishing above is the question I keep asking. And you might expect a move from all of those 3 big clubs down there, Derby, Sheffield Wednesday and Forest, out of that bottom 6. And ergo, if those 3 clubs move out of the bottom 6, you know where the League One teams are ultimately going to end up if that's the case. I don't want that to be the case. I'd like at least one of them to have a challenge and, maybe stay up and give us some diversity in the league. But I'm just calling it as I see it. I hate to say. Right, let's get your comments in and then we'll look at Team of the Week and Goal of the Week and all of that stuff. Subscribed. Thank you. Hey, you guys. We will debate Bamford, God of Thunder on Dearly Departed. So check me out tomorrow on that one. Aidan says a good run in December will hopefully get. And that's what can do it. That's what Forest need now. They need 2 points per game for 10 games in a row now, don't they, to push into that. You just wonder, are the 3 parachute year 1 teams going off into the distance, aren't they? Happy we didn't get Ainsworth. He's not a championship manager unless he gets a decent top 10 championship club with these yo-yo clubs and make them established. Don't get carried away. 2 wins for these teams who have only accumulated. Yeah, fair. I think they'll tick along, though. I'm not getting carried away, Chris, based on the what I've seen so far. It's a prediction based on Houghton and the squad that I think in the end they'll do it. But no, fair point, Chris. We haven't seen the evidence thus far. Right. Have a think about your goal of the week and your team of the week. We're just going to look at the top scorers charts before we round up for this. And indeed, this will be the last review for... I sold Armstrong Shorts and he had 10 goals. He's actually got 11. 11 and 11. I don't think he started one of them as well. So it's actually 11 in 10. But look, 11 in the first 11 league games. So brilliant stuff from Armstrong and Tony. Can either of them stay fit and get 30 to be the first player since Glenn Murray to do so there? Lucas Zhao and Ayu on 6 and 5. Sinclair on 5 as well. Decent output from him. Zhao and Ayu, I think, will get good totals from them. Look, there's Pookie and Godden and Fletcher, Dan Juma and Wallace. All will be hoping for 15 plus this season if they stay fit as a minimum, I would suspect. Right, let's have a look and think about our team of the week. Let me make a couple of suggestions. Our winners were Stoke, Watford, Norwich, Bournemouth, Bristol City, Blackburn, Rotherham, Barnsley and Forest. I think I'll probably go for Rotherham on the basis that our League One teams might not get too many shout-outs this season. So I'll go for Rotherham as my team of the week. Finally, a tight game sort of going for the Millers. For my goal of the week, I am thinking about, obviously, Hamer's header for Coventry was sensational. Maybe the Bristol City goal was nicely worked. Definitely Eiting's goal for Huddersfield. Possibly one of Armstrong's goals. Crook's goal for Rotherham with the break by Joseph Zoon, and Adebayo's goal for Barnsley. Maybe Lyle Taylor's second goal as well. And as much as I love Gustavo Hamer's header, I've got to go for the Huddersfield goal. So that would be my team of the week, would be Rotherham. My goal of the week would be Iain for Huddersfield. And I think we've done it. Thank you, everybody who has tuned in today. Really, really enjoyed it. An hour and 35 minutes. But maybe I'll put some time codes in this week if I can figure out how to do that. And we won't do clips. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Apologies if you're offended by me going right the way through the 11 o'clock and the Remembrance Day tributes. Obviously, that's up to you if you're offended by it. But you know my intention is honourable, just to keep the broadcast going. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Please like if you're about to go. Subscribe if you're still here, and do after you go, just underneath the video, you will see the Teesprings store, which looks a little something like that, where you can buy merchandise. Thank you for all the people who've done so far. Please send me a picture if and when you do. Thank you to Russ, our fan sponsor here. Get your ideas in. Tweet me, DM me on Twitter, on Instagram with ideas. I will do a story so far. And then we'll probably do some fun ranking videos and whatnot. Let me know what you'd like to see ranked or tier list stuff while we're on the international break. Dearly departed stuff tomorrow, but I will be tuning out now from this channel for the rest of the day. I will be on the Blue Monday podcast tonight talking Ipswich, if that in any way, shape, form or fashion floats your boat. Thanks, QPR. Thanks, Irene and Dave, Nat. Hey, you guys. Me Jones, Chris, Anir, Hamza, Dave, David. Brilliant stuff, guys. And I will say, without gushing, what a brilliant community we've got here. It's so great to have you here all of the time. Remember, people say I know a lot about championship stuff. I don't. I just repeat what you guys tell me. You know a lot about your clubs and you keep me up to date. And the whole thing doesn't work without your guys. And that's why these live streams are so good and so useful for improving the channel and improving me and my knowledge and my ability to create good content here. So if that wasn't too gushing, thank you, everybody. And I will see you next time live. Will be England versus Republic of Ireland on Thursday. So a little bit of a break unless we put in a Q&A stream. We'll see. Let me know what you want to see. Tweet me and comment under the video. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And it is an over and out, and leave your bias at the door, and see you very soon from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button, and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.